Superconductors. Superconductors was discovered by H. Kamerlingh in the year 1911. This was invented by H. Kamerlingh in the year 1911. So before the discovery of superconductor, people thought that the resistivity of a conductor becomes zero only at absolute zero. But after the discovery of superconductivity, they came to know that when the temperature of certain material is decreased, for example, let us take mercury. When in mercury, if it attains a temperature, lower temperature of 4.2 Kelvin, the resistivity of the material completely drops to zero and the conductivity increases rapidly. So this is what is called a superconductor. So this temperature is called as transition temperature, where the normal temperature, the temperature at which a normal material becomes a superconducting material. So that temperature is called as transition temperature. Properties of superconductor. First is resistance. The resistance of the superconductor is very less, and it is of the order of 10 to the power of minus 5 ohm centimeter. Magnetic effect. So when a strong magnetic field is applied to a superconductor, up to a certain field, the superconductor will be a superconductor. After a certain field, what happens? The superconducting phenomena has been destroyed in that material. So at which the point, the field at which a superconducting material becomes a normal material is called as the critical magnetic field, Hc. So Hc is equal to H naught into 1 minus Tc minus T, where H naught is the critical, Hc is the critical field, H naught is the critical magnetic field, and Tc is the critical temperature. Diamagnetic property. So when a superconducting material is placed in a magnetic field, up to a certain field it behaves as a superconductor, and after that what happens? The superconducting phenomena has been destroyed. So if a superconducting material is placed in a magnetic field, that is when the temperature is less than the greater than the transition temperature, when the temperature is greater than the transition temperature, suppose if it is a magnetic material, all the magnetic lines of forces will pass through the material. All the magnetic lines of forces will pass through the material when B is not equal to 0. So after that, when the temperature T is less than the transition temperature, what happens? All the magnetic lines of forces are repelled. All the magnetic lines of forces are expelled. So now already we have seen that these type of process takes place only in a diamagnetic material, right? So superconductors are perfect diamagnets. So for example, if you say B is equal to mu naught into H plus I, when magnetic field B is equal to 0, mu naught into H plus I is equal to 0. Mu naught cannot be 0, the relative permittivity, therefore H plus I is equal to 0, or I is equal to minus H, or I by H is equal to minus 1. That is the susceptibility chi. So if you see the susceptibility of a superconducting material is negative, so it is a perfect diamagnet. So this was first observed by a scientist called Meissner. Otherwise this effect is called as Meissner effect. Next is electrical property. When a large value of AC current is applied to a superconducting material, due to this a magnetic field is induced. So when the value of the electric current is increased, the superconducting phenomena is destroyed. This is the electrical property of the superconductor. When a large amount of AC current is applied to a superconducting material, it induces a large value of magnetic field. So when a large value of magnetic field is induced, automatically the superconducting phenomena has been destroyed in the material and it becomes as a normal material. This property is the electrical property of the superconductor. Next is persist current. So now let us consider a superconducting ring. So in this superconducting ring, when an DC field is applied, so in the previous case an AC field is applied, in this case what happens, a DC current is applied. So after applying a DC current and after removing the DC current also, some current will be persist inside the ring. So this property is called the persist current property of the superconducting material. Thermal property. The entropy and the specific heat capacity of the superconducting material decreases at the transition temperature. And the specific heat capacity of the type 1 superconductor is less. These are the thermal properties of the superconducting material. Then last property is the isotopic property. Next one is the isotopic property. So that is the resistivity of the superconducting material varies depending upon the isotope of the superconductivity. So therefore the transition temperature of each isotope will vary in case of superconductors. So these are the properties of superconductors. So the first property is the electrical resistance property, the resistivity property, where the resistance is very less and it is of the order of 10 to the power of minus 5 ohm per ohm centimeter. And next one is the magnetic property, diamagnetic property, electrical property, persist current property, thermal property and isotopic property. So these are some of the important properties of superconducting material. Classification of superconductors. So superconductors can be classified into two different types, that is type 1 superconductors and type 2 superconductors. So first let us see what are type 1 superconductors. So in case of type 1 superconductors, so first let us see type 1 superconductors. So let us draw a graph, that is applied magnetic field versus magnetization. Applied magnetic field versus magnetization. Now when a superconducting material is subjected to a magnetic field, the magnetization takes place up to one particular point. So after this the magnetization suddenly drops to 0. So this point is called as critical field. So below critical field it acts as an superconductor. Above the critical field it becomes as a normal conductor. These type of superconductors are called as type 1 superconductors. Next is type 2 superconductors. So in case of type 2 superconductors, applied magnetic field versus magnetization. Applied magnetic field versus magnetization. So when a type 2 superconducting material is subjected to an applied magnetic field, the magnetization increases up to a particular point. So in case of type 1 superconductors, what happens? The magnetization suddenly drops to 0 and after that point it behaves as a normal conductor. Whereas in case of type 2 superconductors, the magnetization gradually decreases and finally it drops to 0. So this is the, let us put it as Hc1 and this is Hc2. So between the critical field Hc1 and the critical field Hc2, the superconducting material is in the mixed state. So below Hc1 it acts as a perfect superconductor and above Hc2 it behaves as a normal conductor. So these type of superconductors are called as type 2 superconductor. So what? In case of type 1 superconductors, below the critical field, it behaves as a superconductor, and above the critical field, it behaves as a normal conductor. Whereas in case of type 2 superconductors, below the critical field, it acts as a superconductor. Between the field He1 and critical field He2, the superconductor is in the mixed state, and after He2, it behaves as a normal conductor. These type of superconductors are called as type 2 superconductors. Next is high temperature superconductors. So if the transition temperature is high, we call it as high temperature superconductors. That is about 12 Kelvin. If the transition temperature of the superconductor is above 12 Kelvin, we call it as high temperature superconductors. So now R&D is going on, and people have developed even superconductors at room temperature. So some of the superconductor combinations, that is BaPb BiO3, that is we call it as BpBO, the transition temperature is 12 Kelvin. So similarly, that is LaBaCuO4, that is simply we put it as LbCO, the transition temperature is 36 Kelvin. And yttrium barium copper oxide, YbCO, yttrium barium copper oxide, if you see, the transition temperature is 90 Kelvin. And TlBaCu Ca2Cu3O10, TbCO, the transition temperature is 120 Kelvin. And LaSrNbO, this is the latest developed high temperature superconductor. If you see, the transition temperature is very, very high, it is of 252 Kelvin. So these are all some of very good examples of high temperature superconductors. So next we'll see the characteristics of superconductors. Characteristics of high temperature superconductors. So they have very high transition temperature. The superconducting materials whose transition temperature is above 12 Kelvin, we call it as high temperature superconductors. They are referred as 1, 2, 3 compounds. They have perovskite crystal structure. This is a peculiar type of crystal structure. They are direction dependent. They are reactive, brittle, and cannot be easily formed or joined. They are oxides of copper in combination. So if you take any high temperature superconductor, copper will be one of the compound. So it is composition of oxides of copper in combination. So these are some of the characteristics of high temperature superconductors. Next, applications of superconductor. So one of the important application of superconductor is cryotron. So cryotron can be acted as a switch. So let us consider two superconducting materials. Material A and a material B is wounded over the material A. So if you see, the transition of the material A is greater than the transition temperature of material B. So before operating temperature, both are superconductors. So at the operating temperature, what happens? The superconducting, because A and B does not have the same transition temperature. At the operating temperature, what happens? The transition temperature of B, because the transition temperature of B is less, so it behaves as when a current is induced, what happens? A magnetic field is produced. So this magnetic field destroys the superconducting phenomena of the material B, because the transition temperature of material B is very, very less compared to that of the transition temperature of material A. So now material B becomes as a normal material. So with the help of this material B, we can control the current in material A. In this way, a cryotron can be acted as a switch. This is one of the important application of superconductors. Next important application of superconducting material is SQUIDs, superconducting quantum interference devices. So in this case, we are taking a superconductor in the form of a ring, and there are two Josephson junctions. So first we should know what is Josephson effect. So when two superconducting materials, let us consider two superconducting materials, and these two superconducting materials are separated by a small insulating material. So now when an voltage is applied to this superconducting junction, initially what happens when the voltage is low, the current does not penetrate or pass through the junction from the material A to material B. So when the voltage is increased, the current penetrates through the insulator and it passes through the material B. This is called as Josephson effect. So based on this Josephson effect only, squids are formed. That is superconducting quantum interference devices. So in this case there are two Josephson junction, and the superconducting material taken here is in the form of a ring. So if you see the flux inside the ring, it is in the form of integral quanta, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So now when an voltage is applied, what happens? There occurs a persist current. So therefore a very minute change in the magnetic field, inside the ring can be detected by using squids. The main function of squids is to find the minute variation of magnetic induction inside this ring, because in this the flux varies in quanta, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So now what happens due to this two Josephson junctions, an interference takes place. So due to this interference, what happens? The flux is in the quanta state, and the very minute change in the magnetization can be detected by using squids. Magnetic levitation, it is one of the most important application of superconductors. So we have seen trains moving fast, we have passenger trains, we have express trains, etc. So in Japan there is one kind of train that is called as bullet train. So this bullet train is based on the principle of superconducting phenomena. So if you see the train, suppose this is the train, and you have so if you see the train is guided by a guiding medium as ordinary trains, but in this case what happens, the train will roll on the track, but in this case it is not rolling on the track, whereas it is flying over the track. Initially it slides over the track, and what happens when a superconducting phenomenon is achieved, what happens, it flies over the track. So if you see this train, at the bottom of the train there is an egg-shaped coil. When a current is induced inside this coil, a magnetic field is produced. So if you see the magnetic field, the bottom of the magnetic field is opposite to that of the top of the train, that is the magnets present in the top of the train. So now what happens, if it is of opposite poles, naturally opposite poles will repel. So initially what happens, it slides, due to opposite poles what happens, it ripples, or it goes, or it flies over the guiding medium. So now by alternatively changing the poles of the magnet, pulling and pushing effect is produced, and the train flies over the track. So this is one of the important application of superconductors, and this is called as magnetic levitation.